Welcome to the DIY3DTech.com channel.
Welcome to this edition of DIY3DTech.com. In this episode, we're going to take a look at this little gizmo. So I promised if I had time, I would do something on this. And what is this, I guess you're asking? Well, it's a macro lens holder for my Fabrikator Mini. So I think if you guys recall back to a couple episodes ago, as I've been experimenting with the Fabrikator Mini and OctoPrint, one of the problems is the web camera sits too close to the stage of the Fabrikator Mini, so it's a bit blurry. So in a prior life, and still sort of in this life a little bit, I do some fine art photography, and I've got actually quite the collection of camera gear, both classic and in medium format and in 35 millimeter film, as well as digital and blah blah blah. And as part of this massive collection, I've got a ton of macro lenses, and so I happen to have a set of 49 millimeter macro lenses that I have never really used, and I think it came with something else I bought, one of those type deals. So anyways, I was playing around with those and putting them in front of the web camera, and it actually worked out pretty good. So what I decided to do was come up with a mount to hold those, and this is the mount that you see here on the screen. I'll do a quick time lapse of me assembling this, and I just kind of want to hit a bit of a highlight. So in the bottom here, I've got, so I can put a 1/4x20 nut in here. I'll epoxy that in, and that'll act as a stanchion, and I'll use a 1/4-inch bolt to support that. Now, one of the things is I did put a little bit of gap here, because what I'll do is I'll just kind of press the lenses into this. Now there's actually 3 lenses, because to get as close as I need to get with the web camera, I've had to use all 3 lenses. And again, I'll show this in the real world when I go to put it together, so you can see how it all fits in. If you want to make your own, that's great. You'll get the idea. And this is a trick that I use quite a bit, when I don't need, when I need something to be tight, because I'm going to do this in ABS on the DaVinci. So I can already tell you the ABS is going to shrink and it's going to be tight. So this gives me a little bit of wiggle room, and it really doesn't need to be held super tight. So this allows me to cheat a little bit. Now I've also put a little bit of a lip in the bottom here, just for the back of the lens to go against, and so when I slide it in, it just simply will provide a stop for it. So nothing too drastic there. So let's go ahead and let's cut over, take a quick time lapse of how I put this all together, and then once we take a look at that time lapse, we'll cut over to the printer. We'll take a look at it having been printed. Again, it's on the DaVinci, so it doesn't do time lapses that great. So we'll look at the final product, and then we'll assemble it, put it on the Fabrikator Mini, do a time lapse off that, and see how it works. So let's cut over to the printer.
Now for a time-lapse video. Ready, set, let's go.
Okay, so we've printed it out on the DaVinci. It came out okay for the DaVinci anyway. And we have here our macro lenses. So these are 49 millimeter. Yep, 49 millimeter macro lenses. So again, these are meant to screw around the front of a 49 millimeter lens, typically for a small 35 millimeter camera. What these came for. These are probably pretty old, probably 30, 40 years old. You can likely find these on eBay pretty cheap. For a while there, I was buying a lot of older optics. As mentioned, I've been involved in fine arts photography for quite some time, and in creating unique lenses and things like that has been sort of another hobby. I don't know, maybe I'll start a channel someday on that. So anyways, I had these laying around, and I printed this, and as I mentioned, I put the little gap in there so I can just slide these in here, and it just slides in. The concave will go toward the back, and yeah, the concaved, and I forget what the word is for the other one. It sticks out. Anyways, I've placed a 1/4 inch 20 turn bolt in the bottom, and I have this, and what I'll do is I'll use this to screw in, and actually I think I got a little glue on it from when I glued it in. And then what will happen is this will hold it on a stanchion in front of the camera. So I don't know. Let's see what happens if I put this. I can't see the screen, so I don't know. This does work though, so I've already used it, kind of propped it up. So let's go over to the Fabrikator Mini and hook it up and see what happens. So sorry, I don't have the. I had to move the Fabrikator Mini off my other desk there because it was kind of getting in the way. I haven't quite found a place for it yet, so still looking, but I'm just, as I'm talking to you, unscrewing this, and I've got a little bit of a washer on here, and so in short, I'll be able to adjust the height of this, and this probably won't be, this was one of the easiest 1/4 20 bolts I could grab. And so I kind of want to, because the lens is here, so actually I just need a really short one. So hopefully that'll work. Might have to go up on my camera a little bit, actually, to compensate a little bit of the difference. Actually, what I could do is, I don't even need this top bolt nut, I mean. So I'm going to take this off, and I'm just going to use the nut in here. This will work better. And so there we go. So now we have, we've sort of like what they did with Hubble telescope. Actually, that's sort of where I came up with the idea. How they put that sliding gizmo inside Hubble many moons ago. That's kind of where I came up with this idea, is just mount a macro lens in front of the camera. So let's hop over, jump back inside the computer, take a look through this camera in OctoPrint, and see how it looks. Okay, so we've now hopped back into the computer world. We're in OctoPrint, and we're looking at the inside of the Fabrikator Mini now. And I put this little RCA to RCA jack on the bed so it would have something to look at. The hot end's moved all the way to the back, and you can kind of see it's a little bit blurry back here as we move out in the depth of field. However, we got a good view on this, so it seems to be working pretty good. It's a little bit heavy for the mount, so I am going to make a little bit heavier duty mount. for it, and that's why you kind of see I'm cutting off a little bit of the bed because it's tipping and pointing up rather than holding it level. But I'll do a larger one. So anyways, hey, hopefully you found this interesting. Again, I know a number of you had asked if I did something along this line, if I would publish a video on it. So here it is. So, if I'm probably not going to upload the model to Thingiverse. However, I will put the link. I will make it public, and I'll put the link to Tinkercad down below. So if you're interested or have something like that, some macro lenses, you want to give this a try, hey, go for it. It's a lot of fun. I actually had a good time on this project, and I really like how this looks. So again, I'm working on printing out a new camera support to go in there. And actually, I'm still waiting for the new webcams to come from China. So I'm actually hoping those have a focusable lens on them. If not, I'll probably adapt something from this to that. So anyways, hopefully you found it interesting. If you did, hey, give it a thumbs up. And subscribe to the channel. A lot more of this stuff coming. And if you want to see something specific or have a generalized interest about 3D printing, laser cutting, whatever, hit me up down below in the comments. I'll be happy to answer any questions that I possibly can. Cheers, and see you in the next video.
Please click like below and subscribe to the channel to keep up to date on all of our projects.